Hello from the Music Interview Corner. I'm here in Berlin with 7 Spires and I got the whole band for you. Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I was only prepared to have you two, but I will not neglect you two, I promise. I also like drummers and guitarists. I'm not against those guys. Adrienne, you said about the last album, A Fortress Called Home, that it was very scary for you to publish it and that it felt like standing naked in front of the world. How does it feel now that the album has been released 1.5 years ago?
Well, it still feels a little bit like standing naked, but after the album came out and some weeks passed and I read, like, should I hold this?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Sorry. So after the album was out for a few weeks or a few months, I read things in my Patreon and the band's Patreon, people talking about how they relate to the songs. And so now I feel like we're all standing naked in front of the world, or maybe just in front of each other and saying, like, I see that we're both human, and that's actually a nice thing. So it's a little bit less scary, and I think the only scary thing that remains now is singing Love Souvenir in a live setting, because it's so hard. Yeah.
Cool. And that would have been my next question. How do you want the listener to feel after journeying throughout the whole album from back to front? So you want them also to feel naked, like you?
Well, I mean, I would be happy if they felt anything at all. If they feel that they relate to the songs, it's sort of a mixed thing. Like, it's beautiful because if I have given them words that they didn't have for the feelings that they couldn't express, then my job is done. But then it's also like, I hope they're doing okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And do you guys want to add anything to the new album, A Fortress Called Home?
Well, more time has passed, and still really happy and love it. And it's very scary to play a lot of those songs live because they're very hard. Mm-hmm. But it's very fun. So,
which one is the most scary for you? Also, Love Souvenir, or?
I think Love Souvenir was at first, but we've played it so much now that it's not so scary anymore.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite song to play live from A Fortress Called Home?
You can go first.
Oh, sure. For me, probably the first song on the album, Songs Upon Wine-Stained Tongues. I like just how diverse the sections are and the parts that are being played, and it's very hard to not feel happy playing that song.
So I joined after the album was done, and
You're the new guy.
yeah. So, but when I heard the record, one that immediately stood out was Love Souvenir. And it's a very difficult song to play, but it's also super fun because you get to do some crazy blast beats, you get to do some fast double kick runs. So, yeah, I'd say that one's my favorite for sure.
Cool. And what did you think about 7 Spires before you became a member of the band?
They were a really good band. They it was funny because they were actually it was seeing the show when they opened for Dragon Force was my first show after COVID. So I went with a friend of mine, and we saw all the bands, and I knew of the name 7 Spires, but never checked them out until I saw them in Toronto. And then after I saw their set, I was completely floored, and I turned to my friend and I said, man, I got to get into a band like that. And sure enough, a couple years later, they did open auditions, and I submitted my video, and here I am.
How happy are you with him so far?
I mean, he killed the audition.
Yeah, we are so happy. He killed the audition, and like that's such a beautiful story, and you can see that motivation in his playing and everything, and that's why we're all here, is because we were so inspired and used that flame to move it forward and make what we make and do what we do now. So he's one of us, and it feels like we've been together for much longer than we have.
I feel like Dylan brought like a new life to Spires. I mean, not that we've been a band for so long that now we need to be revived, but I think having this fresh energy and like, I don't know, Dylan, you're so motivated and like passionate about your instrument, and I think we all are, but sometimes it like I forget. Like, it's just such a part of who we are that like I don't see my nose anymore, but then like Dylan enters the fold and we're like, oh yeah, wow, yeah, let's do it properly again. I don't know. It's great. Good to have you.
Oh, it's nice to see so much love in a band. Maybe I skip to the questions that are good for everyone. So if every song on A Fortress Called Home would be a room within the fortress, which room would you personally want to live in? And which room would you fear entering? Who wants to go first?
Wait, I have to think about the track list. Wait. I actually forgot the song, so I'm now
no problem.
going to look at the track list.
Look at the track list. This is a good
Okay,
challenge.
I'll read them out loud, and then we can all say like, oh, this one would be good, oh, that one would be bad. We have A Fortress Called Home, Songs Upon Wine-Stained Tongues, Almost Town, Impossible Tower, Love Souvenir, Architect of Creation, Portrait of Us, Emerald Necklace, Where Sorrows Bear My Name, No Place for Us, House of Lies, and The Old Hurt of Being Left Behind. I have to. This is a very hard question.
I know I tried to challenge my interview partners.
That's good.
Okay. Do you have an answer?
Sure. I think it's a really tricky question because especially with this album, but in general, once the song's out in the world, it's sort of like, yes, I have now expressed this and I can purge it from my system a bit. So I think a lot of us are a little desensitized to the songs themselves in a live setting and elsewise after the album is out. But there are certain aspects of Emerald Necklace, like this. It's anticipatory grief in a way, but that meaning that there's something that needs to be savored and enjoyed while you're still here, I think is a beautiful thing, and I would pick that one if I were to stick in a room.
Do you want to go next?
That was a great answer, and I think that I want to go with that one too because it's beautiful. It's sort of inspired by a very nice place that we all know. So I think that's a very fond one as well. But Architect of Creation also is very connected to my own sort of productive mania that I have usually in January and February of every year. That's when I become very productive and creative and work hard. So that one's also relatively relevant, and I like to stay in that vibe as well. So.
I think I would. That was a good answer. I think I would like to be in the room of the old hurt of being the old hurt of being left behind, because it's the place that you reach at the end of all of the fear and self-loathing. We finally say like, okay, I am a human and I could use some help actually, and I think I trust you enough to help me with these things, and I see that you're willing. Oh man, here we go. So I think that would be the room that I would like to be in. I kind of struggle with this. Stop laughing.
Okay, there's also laughing at each other, not only love. Okay.
Yeah. And I think if I had to pick one that I would like to not be in, it would be Where Sorrows Bear My Name, because it talks so much about the beautiful landscape at the surface and everything that you dread or hate, which is buried beneath. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to dig up anything. I don't need to see that. I know it's there. But that's where I would like to not be. Yeah.
I can totally understand. It sounds like a David Lynch movie for some reason. And what would be your room to live in?
I have no idea. I think my answer would be exactly the same as Jack's and Pete's.
Okay, so you can be roommates in that room, I guess. And you said that it refers to a real place that you all know. Which place would that be?
Yeah, so that's can I say it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it,
Oh,
yeah,
is it too
because
personal?
it does. I mean, it's directly referenced in the song as well, but it's a part of Boston that's sort of like this what would you call it? Like a circuitous small road that goes around the city, and it's also goes around a lake or a river or something. And there's lots of beautiful trees and beautiful architecture from maybe a better time than now. And it's a place where we all have very fond memories throughout many parts of our life. So.
Nice. And we talked about being naked before, and now you talk about this special place. We were talking about your hiking socks while I was adjusting the camera. Do you want to talk about that in the interview too, or better not?
I mean, they're the clean socks that I had within reach last night after my shower. We had a very interesting shower situation last night.
Do you want to also go into that?
We can talk about it. Yeah. So first of all, it was one big wet room with 4 separate shower heads. So I guess if we're a very special band bonding experience type of band, we could have done that. But unfortunately, or maybe luckily, he's like, no. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that because all of the hot water had run out. I think I went in prepared to take a bird bath, but I turned the hot water on and it was there. But yeah, that was yesterday, and then I had clean socks finally. But they're green hiking socks. Green is the day off color. It's not a day off, but it brings me a sense of peace. They're wool. I bought them in Norway, and makes me feel a little bit of happiness on my little toesies.
Yeah.
Pete likes to talk about
Hiking clothes.
I was gonna say a wool sock on a winter foot.
Yeah. Sometimes like when if there's like a certain smell on a cold tour, we call that wool sock on a winter foot. But hiking clothes are great for tour. So I really like wearing long underwear and shorts. And if you go on tour, I recommend wearing hiking clothes. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Now all the young bands out there know how to properly dress for touring. And speaking of Scandinavia, Norway, you said you bought this in Norway. You also talked about Finland, like that some Finnish bands are a big influence or inspiration for you, like Nightwish and Omnium Gatherum. Mm-hmm. Do you have a special connection to Finland?
First of all, I have to say I'm very impressed by the homework that you've clearly done.
Oh, thank you. I'm German.
Yeah. Okay, very correctly, by the rules, on time, efficiently. I would say, like, as far as like the heart or spiritual connection, I feel much more towards Norway and Norwegian culture somehow. But we have toured with some great Finnish bands, and we really like a lot of Finnish bands. And I don't know, it's just something about the approach to. Maybe this is a Jack question actually, because I feel like there's great Norwegian bands, but I feel like they're more known for like black metal, and then there's great Swedish bands. It's a certain flavor of melodeath, but then there's like the Finnish melodeath that like really gets me going. I don't know. You want to talk about it, maybe?
Oh yes. Yeah.
I think what it actually is that Finnish artists seem to have this like universal ability to shove extremely complex emotion into a very simple, almost like childlike presentation in a really great way. When you think of someone like Thomas Holopainen from Nightwish, he's almost sitting at the piano playing these very simple, almost like one finger melodies that you could, anybody could do, but is able to convey such a width and depth of emotion with something like that. And I think another example of this, Marcus van Halla from Omnium Gatherum, Insomnium, Swallow the Sun, another great band like this. They make you feel a very specific sadness or melancholy or bittersweet hopefulness with a very simple tool set or presentation. I think that's a very beautiful thing that we resonate with as well.
Do you want to add anything? Have you ever been to Finland?
I've never been to Finland, but that's been on my bucket list, that's for sure. Yeah.
We don't play Finland?
No.
What the hell? Not with you. Oh.
Oh, well, we should fix that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've lived in Helsinki. It's beautiful there. I can recommend. Oh yeah, and speaking of other bands, I would also like to talk about how other bands influence Seven Spires. So you're working with Avantasia. Mm-hmm. And how was it for you to work among these legendary singers and to find your own space, your own unique space within such unique voices?
Well, I joined when I was barely 24. I think actually I technically got the job. I was still 23. And to stand with these giants was pretty intimidating. And I had a lot of imposter syndrome about it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, anybody else could have gotten this job, should have. Maybe they're a better singer than me. Maybe they're more pleasant to be around than me. But the fact was I had to I'm the one with the job, so I better step up and make sure I do a good job. So I worked a lot on things that I knew I struggled with a little bit, like pitch accuracy. I saw some live videos where maybe I wasn't perfectly in tune, and that really bothered me. So I spent like hours and hours and hours like doing pitch accuracy exercises and stuff like that, just to make sure that like whatever I did within this band, I would do to the best of my ability and contribute whatever I could and not just take up space. This probably sounds really depressing, but I mean, I was 24, and I think we have some troublesome thoughts when we're 24. But I think in terms of finding like where I stand, it really only happened after like many tours, and there was it last year? I think somebody who was supposed to sing the song "Reach Out for the Light" couldn't make it for a couple of shows, and like there was just stuff happening, and I was in the car with Sasha, and we were on the phone with Toby, and we were like, "Don't worry, we got you. I can do this," or "May I suggest that? Here are maybe some solutions." And it was very much like team oriented, like, "Don't worry about it, we got you, here's some solutions if you want, no worries." But it felt so nice to be able to not just be part of the team in terms of like, okay, sing the backing vocals and these two things, but like, hey, I have an idea and maybe this could actually help. And I think that is basically where I like see my role in this band, is to be as much of a supporting, I don't know, a support beam as I possibly can. And it turns out kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I actually saw the Berlin show in March, and I really liked it. It was
nice.
amazing.
Thanks.
And you spoke of dark thoughts that you had at a 24-year-old.
Yes.
In Avantasia, your role is also more on the darker side.
Yes.
And the theatrical side of the story. How much of that is like coming from yourself, and how much is like pure character work?
I think it's kind of one and the same, I would say. I mean, my name literally means the dark one who comes from the sea. And I don't know if my parents knew when they named me, but here we are. Thanks, Mom. But a lot of it basically comes from me because I like to be dark and theatrical. And I think to be on stage is where I am my truest self, and also where I face and purge and express all of that, so that I can be a hee-hee-ha-ha person most of the rest of the time, unless, I don't know, there's onions in my food or something.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you will see the show tonight, and there's also even more of the dark stuff. So we'll find out.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. And one more Avantasia question, because I really like Avantasia. Avantasia is very narrative driven. How much did that influence the way you see storytelling for Seven Spires?
We've always been a storytelling band since 2013, although I think we were writing I was writing songs. It was actually even before I met Jack in 2012. And I was actually a fan of Avantasia, but I wasn't really like listening as much to them as I was to other bands. And so it was actually the band Nightwish with this album Imaginarum, where like they have this whole narrative, and then they have at the end an overture where they have themes and melodies from each song. And I was like, I didn't know you could do this, because I was super into musical theater and opera and stuff like that before I was in metal. And so I was like, I can be myself in this like more extreme context. So I think I formed this part of my identity, or my part of my artistry, before, and then I joined Avantasia, and I was like, I know how to do this. I fit kind of okay here. Yeah.
I saw on your website you offer audio files that explain the lore of your first 3 albums. Who had the idea for that? Was it you?
It was not me. I think it was not my idea. I think that was probably Jack or Adrienne's idea to do this, and I think that was another thing that was sort of born out of the pandemic, maybe as well, just as a way to sort of bring people further into that's been created. The world, and what we found is like so many people wanted to dig so much more, but they only had the lyrics, the songs, and the discussion with other people. So this is like another thing that we can give them, and I think that makes the discussions even more engaging. So even though it doesn't really hand everything to you. So yeah.
The audio file, I'm sorry, I just have so much to say. The audio file is narrated by one of our friends. His name's Matt, and he's also one of my moderators on Patreon and Discord. But it was so special because he was living close to where I used to live when I lived in England, and so when I first started having these like Discord hangouts on Patreon, like I heard this accent that felt so close to home, or like a home that was like long gone, and so I was like, who is this? And we just became friends, and I was like, yo, dude, I think he used to have a podcast. I don't think he's doing that now, but it was like, I think you should probably narrate this. And so that was cool. Yeah.
Cool. And how long have you been living in England?
I was there for 5 years.
How old were you when you lived there?
I was 12 until 18. One of the years I was in The Hague in Holland, but the other 5 years I was in England. Yeah.
But so it was not your decision. Your family moved you there.
Yeah, it was my parents. But I was like, yeah, of course, we can go.
And I hope it's not getting too boring for you guys. I also have questions for you, but I still have some more questions about Masters of Ceremony.
Okay.
Because Masters of Ceremony is much more on the hard rock and heavy metal spectrum, and not so much like the symphonic darkness that you have with Seven Spires. How much did working with Masters of Ceremony challenge your vocal expression and help you expand your vocal expression?
Actually, very good question. This was so weird because Sasha worked on so many of the albums that I like that were just formative experiences for me. So when we started working together in this way, I was like, that's exactly the melody I would have written. What the heck? And then it came out that he had done so much of the production and so much of the co-songwriting for so many of these albums. I was like, you raised me. What the heck? And so I don't know. I think when I sing with Spires, everything that I do, I try to make it as me as I can. But I think there's different Adrians that come out in each project, and so here I try to be as like polished and yet still raw as I can, and bring a lot of the technique and training that I can. But when I sing for Masters, a lot of it's so like raw in a completely different way. It's like, fuck you, kind of, instead of like. Which is what I try to bring here. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, it's less refined, I would say, but in a way that I think helped rebalance a lot of the perfection that I chase within Spires. Yep.
And how long had you been working with Sasha before you found out that he was part of all these albums that you admire?
I don't know, because he mixed and mastered our first LP. Which came out in 17, but I think we'd been in touch since like 15 or 14 or something. And I knew that he had produced a lot of the Camelot albums, which were like the inspiration or influence for me for a long time. And like those albums were the reason that I sent him this email of like, hello, Mr. Payet, blah, blah, blah. But I guess that was 2018 when we were working on the record. So it had been like years before I finally realized, like, you did that, and that, and that, and that. So, yeah, like 4, 5, 6 years, something like that.
And Peter, I also have a question for you like that. So it's about OK Good Night and Seven Spires. Do you see those two bands as two different musical paths, like two different universes? Or is it two similar paths that feed each other?
Oh, well, so this is a good question. They're definitely two different musical paths, but I am a common character for both. So it's I think that the some parts of me feed both of those things. So in a way they're tied together. Like for the OK Goodnight album, The Fox and the Bird, that's obviously a pretty technical and pretty heavy album. And so a lot of my influence from tech death and kind of the technical things that we do in Spires lended themselves very well to those songs. And also the band, that was a concept album, The Fox and the Bird. And that's something that I have loved working on as in Spires when we've been working on concept albums. So those are some common things, but aside from those aspects, they are very different paths. And I think musically, it's an exploration of some things that I enjoy that wouldn't really be right for Spires. And then what I've found to be pretty interesting is that some people will find one band and then discover the others, and then it all sort of gets mixed in, and it's a very nice feeling to sort of introduce people who really only like symphonic metal to something more proggier, and introduce some of the proggier people to more symphonic metal. So it's I've quite enjoyed the differences of the two.
And you are not only the bass player of Seven Spires, you're also the manager. How is it for you to wear those two hats? Does it sometimes clash?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, everybody cover your ear. No, I think at this stage, it's become so much easier because I think we've all had so much practice at, at really doing this thing that we do. But I think there have been times when it's challenging to separate the two, or challenging to have a clear head. And there are a couple aspects that make a big difference for me. So part of it is that I have additional people who work with me to do the management roles, and they help me maintain the right perspective a lot of the time. And then when we're on tour, a lot of the time it used to be I was sort of doing too much administrative stuff and maybe taking care of things right before going on stage. And now I don't do that anymore. So yeah, I can warm up and I can keep a clear head before going on stage, which is very nice. So I think it was good to sort of maximize my potential at first and then get into it a bit. So I still enjoy very much doing both things. Yeah.
Did you ever find yourself standing on stage in the past and you couldn't turn off the manager brain and you were thinking about like stage flow and crowd dynamics and stuff?
Yes, all the time. Like if our merch doesn't arrive where it needs to arrive, I stand on stage and I'm thinking about that. But luckily, I've become forgetful as I get older, so then you can forget and get back into playing. So.
Oh, and now a question for you guys, for Jack and Dylan. How is it for you to work with Peter as a manager?
It's great. It's great. It's like he's so on top of it. I mean, he is like, not only can he do the, I know he's like looking over going like,
Now be careful what you say.
say the right answer. But no, it's great. I mean, he's so on top of it with everything, and yeah, it's like I can't imagine having to juggle both the responsibilities, not only being a manager but also being a musician as well. And he just crushes it at both. So 0 complaints whatsoever.
Cool. What do you say?
Yeah, I think when Pete took over as management and started to get into that, it actually completely changed how we function as a band. Like when in the early days, it was sort of like Adrienne was the one with this idea and this dream, and it like, she would have like the craziest, best version of it in mind, and then we would have to like team up and figure out like how do we actually implement this, how do we do this in a way that is really cool and fun for the band. And then I think now that Pete is managing things, it's everything has shifted to a more like democratic thing, and Pete's very aware of like what the band needs to do next from a business standpoint, and it functions very differently, but clearly in a way that's working, so it's cool.
Of course.
Yes, that's right. I also want to say that this is something that we all do together very much still. So each of us have such different roles, but we really do. We rely on one another for the management in general. So this is something we all take care of, and we are each very different, and our differences are the thing that end up making us successful if we can reconcile them properly. So yeah.
Oh yeah. And you are also managing other bands. Did you ever have experiences with other bands, like they handle challenges like releases or fan engagement or touring, that influences directly the way how you guide Seven Spires?
Yes, definitely. I think there are so many times where each band is different. So there are so many times where you notice a failure in one area for one band, and pretty much doing things the exact same way, but with different people is a great success. And so there's no way to say like between this band and that band this strategy is going to work. It's very different for each, but it does, like if you can notice patterns, then that can be very influential. So
Oh yeah, you were laughing. Do you want to tell us why you were laughing?
it seemed for a moment that it would go in the direction of, I see other bands doing things wrong, and I say, we're never going to do that. But that's not at all what you said.
But that's also true sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with songwriting, same with vocals. Like, I see somebody screamed with no technique, and now they can't do it anymore after 7 years. Or, like, this was an interesting songwriting choice. I wonder why I don't like it, and then I, like, go and analyze everything, and then go, this was perfect except for this 5% of this one thing that destroys the whole thing. I don't have any artist in mind, by the way, but it's the same thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do want to mention that we have to sound check soon. So so maybe we'll
Like 5 minutes?
Yeah, maybe like 1 or 2 more questions. Yeah.
Okay, so, oh my god, the pressure. No, your band is known for blending genres. You have a very unique mix. You're blending like melodic death metal with black metal and power metal. How did you have the idea to blend black metal and power metal? Because I feel they are like on opposite ends of the spectrum.
It was never on purpose.
Oh.
I think we just write what we feel and what we like, and we like a lot of things, and I think it's quite safe to say that we have a lot of feelings, and pretty much all of them are big. Yes?
Yes.
Fair?
Agreed.
It's sometimes black metal is the right genre to express a certain feeling. Sometimes power metal is the right thing for something else. Yeah.
Cool. And maybe then we ended with a funny question. What would be the craziest blend of genres you could imagine, like death metal, funk, jazz? And who in the band would secretly enjoy it?
Oh.
Like here.
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention that last night, as we were wrapping up everything, right before going to bed,
We were already in bed.
we were already in bed, and
It's like we have 5 bunks at the back of the bus.
that's right.
So-
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. We have the back of the bus, and for some reason, somebody requested accordion music, or maybe I just.
No, it's Dan.
Yeah.
Our merch guy.
Our merch guy requested accordion music because we were listening to a song called Angus the Prize-Winning Hog, and that had an accordion in it, and so then I'm the guy in the band who listens to the most accordion music out of all of us, and so we had about 40 minutes of accordion waltzes, and it sort of turned into a jazz manouche thing. So personally, it was cool. A good time was had by all except those trying to sleep. And I think like genre-wise, we've actually, we could mash up some different things, and if we wanted to do it in a kind of silly way, it would be very possible. But we tend to like to do things more gracefully than that. But there are influences from some extreme places sometimes. So yeah.
Do you want to add something to that?
At this point, it's so hard to think of a silly combination of genres because, I don't know, you just take elements from things that make sense and put them with elements that make sense from other things. I don't know. Maybe you guys?
Yes.
Do you want to add to that?
I don't know. I think we're a very silly band outside of the studio and on stage, off stage, but like, sort of the core identity of the band is a very serious attitude. So it's hard to think about doing something for a comedy purpose, like as Seven Spires, as a piece of art or a song or something like that. But who knows down the line?
Do you want to add anything?
There's nothing for me to add on that. No.
Then, thank you for this wonderful interview.
Thanks too.
And goodbye from the Music Interview Corner.
Bye.